Welcome to AJD Consulting Podcast, where we focus on personal and professional development. This conversation highlights the role of the media and how it shapes our identity as first generation college students and graduates. So, today I have a very special guest with me, Dr. LT Rease Miles. As a first gen college graduate and a thought leader in higher education, Dr. Latonya LT Rease Miles, PhD, has been instrumental in developing and establishing successful programs for first generation college students at both UCLA and Loyola Marymount University. And her many leadership roles, including as the co founder of My Tribe Media and the co founder of Addie Health, she advises institutions on first generation student experiences. She regularly champions initiatives for non traditional adult learners and contributes to scholarly discourse on first gen experiences. Her influence extends to the digital sphere, where she has co founded several online communities, including a national Facebook group that empowers first gen students. I am so excited to have you here. How are you?
I am doing so wonderful. How about yourself?
I am doing great. Thank you for
Good.
asking.
You look amazing.
Thank you. I'm trying to do skincare
Yes,
routine.
I see it. It is working, sis. It is working.
Thank you. And so we're going to jump right into our interview today. And one of my other passions is genealogy. And so I'm always fascinated about people's origin stories. So can you share a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and some of your hobbies and passions?
First of all, I love the fact that you're into genealogy. I feel like that's like a throwback passion. So please continue to do that. And being someone who's very interested in comics, I also love the idea of origin story because that's always important, right, for the character. So as for me, even though I'm currently in California and I've lived in California for a number of years, I am an East Coast girl at heart. And so I was born anyway in the DC area and spent a lot of my youth there, but I really consider myself part of the whole East Coast because my family's from North Carolina. I lived in DC, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and I think that covers a lot of it. So that's where a lot of my K through 12 schooling as well as my college education was all on the East Coast. And then I know we'll get all into this, but being like a first generation college going person, I didn't know how I was going about this journey, right? Just
Right.
like, following advice from folks, which brought me to California for graduate school. So I received my PhD in English from UCLA and spent a lot of time in Los Angeles. And now I'm outside of San Francisco. So excited to be here.
I'm happy you answered that because I was going to ask you, how did you get to California?
Right? How in the world did I get here? And look, I told myself when I was at UCLA, which is where I studied English literature, I'm going back to the East Coast, right? I'm like I said, East Coast girl through and through. I mean, I've been back to visit, but at this time don't have any plans to return to the East Coast. But I love both coasts and they both have raised me in a way.
I love that. It's so funny because I'm originally a Midwest girl. I was
No,
raised in
what?
Kansas City, Missouri, and I have lived in the South ever since 18 years old. Even like Southwest, like I lived in Arizona for a couple years, but I
Yeah.
have primarily been on the Southeast side. Like this is home for me. Like this is where I'm most
Yeah.
comfortable. And I love Midwest. That is always my roots and my foundation, but I do like coming south.
Okay, okay.
And so you talked about UCLA and you going off to grad school. So can you
hmm
tell us a little bit more about your academic and professional background? What else did you do at UCLA? What other schools were you a part of?
Yeah, so provide more context for y'all because not only was I a first gen student, I also was a transfer student. And I think
Oh,
that's really important, like a multi-time transfer student. And that experience gets overlooked. It's very common for people to go to multiple schools as they're trying to navigate. So I went to three different undergraduate institutions, including one HBCU,
Yeah.
and I HU, and then but I graduated from the University of Maryland at College Park. And while I was there, I had amazing Black women mentors, and they really encouraged me to pursue the PhD. I'm first gen. I was happy to just go to college. You know what I mean? I
Agreed.
had that kind of family that if I literally had gone for one day to college and turned around and came back, that they were throwing a party. You know what I mean? So the idea of going on to get a PhD was just so foreign to me. Shout out to Trio, being a McNair scholar, which exposed me to research and this idea of a PhD. And like I said, I'm like East Coast girl. My goal was UPenn. I thought I was going to University of Pennsylvania, maybe Rutgers, but I had an advisor who told me UCLA. I was like, UCLA, California. It might as well have been a foreign country, as far as I was concerned, as far as my family was concerned. It absolutely was the right place for me for my PhD. Mind you, I went from undergrad to the PhD. I went, it was in the humanities. Getting a master's in English just wasn't going to do anything for me. So I went straight to a PhD program with the goal of being a full-time faculty member, which
Same.
didn't happen. But it was my choice. It didn't happen. I was really once I started working with students who were very much like myself, then I realized I wanted to do that. I really wanted to provide support for these students that I came to know as first gen. Didn't even know I was first gen.
Agreed.
Right. So I worked at UCLA. I did teach. I was a McNair director, a trio director. I created programs for students. I went on to become UCLA's first year experience director, and I created first gen programs there. I was at Loyola Marymount for a number of years and created their first generation college program. Became a dean of the chief student affairs officer at a school up here in the Bay Area. Had a stint in ed tech, and now I'm running a nonprofit. Like, oh my gosh, look at this. This is crazy.
So,
Yes.
young Latanya, did you
Yeah.
ever
Oh,
think,
oh, little young. Yeah.
little T, did little T ever imagine this would be her life?
Oh, absolutely not. No. I mean, I wanted to write. Like, I knew, like, I was a writer at heart. I kind of thought initially before I went to college, it would be like journalism. When I went to college, people were saying, "Oh, you're smart. You should go to law school." But I didn't really entertain that. I thought I was going to teach. I did think I was going to teach. I love that. My younger cousins were my students, right? I made them worksheets,
You took playing school too seriously.
very serious, very serious. Yeah. So I did that. And then once I did the McNair program, that was life altering. That was the program that said to me that I could do this other thing. I could be a professor.
Shout out to all of our trio programs.
Trio
They
works.
they are needed, they work, they are so valuable. I wasn't a part of a trio program, however, I did support one with
Yeah.
the Live and Learning community when I worked in housing, and I love SSS. Support
Yes,
services.
yes.
Like I love them students. They
I
are
wish I knew.
amazing.
I didn't even know about SSS, but I did. Thankfully, I knew about McNair. Well, McNair found me kind of, so
What do you
I'm
mean?
grateful. So, okay, here's what's crazy. I was a student at Howard University, and I saw this flyer. I kid you not, I got that flyer around here somewhere. No kidding. From the 90s, okay? I
Come
saw
on, archives.
I saw this flyer, and what caught my eye, it was like, "Are you interested in graduate school?" Which I didn't know what that was, right? But I saw it was like, "Get $500." I was like, "Oh, yes, I am interested in making $500," right? So I took that flyer and kept it to myself and applied for the program. So even though I was a student at Howard, the McNair program was at American University across the way, and that McNair program brought students from several different colleges and universities in DC. So I didn't know what I was getting into. Girl, I wanted the money. And then I learned about research, and that was life-changing for me.
I love this. I'm sure all of these new experiences now led you to media. So how did that happen? How did you get to
Oh,
start exploring media?
okay. So funny that the way you tied that together right then. So listen to this. Because at first, when I was thinking about this, I put the date around 2011. But actually, it started way before then, now that I think
Mhm.
about it. There was a period of time when I was an undergrad, and so I eventually graduated from University of Maryland. But around that period where I was at Howard and at the University of Maryland, I was obsessed with film. So remember, we got to date this, right? This was early 90s. Spike Lee was out, Boys in the Hood was out, later on, Menace to Society. And I was just fascinated by media. So that was part of the reason why I was an English major is because I was interested in representation, right?
Mm,
So not
gotcha.
sociology, not like real life things. I was interested in the image, whether it was on the page or whether it was on film. So that I would date that interest, like my little radar, my little antenna went up back when I was in undergrad, and I was so close to minoring or majoring in art history even. So then fast forward to me being at UCLA, and at some point I learned that I am this thing called first gen, right? I'm like, what is the like I'm working for the trio program, and then I someone told me, LT, you know you're first gen, right? And I was like, excuse me?
What is that?
There, mind you, I'm working for the trio program. Okay. I just didn't know that was me. So I was just so excited about this identity. And my goal really was to like elevate it. And I wanted to like see where are our stories, right? Where can I read more? So it would have been sometime around 2011 when I was working at Loyola Marymount. And LMU has one of the oldest, not first gen programs, but like first gen week and all that type of stuff. They've been
Mm.
doing that for a minute. And I know we wanted to identify some famous first gens and like let students know. So back then you couldn't just Google somebody and be like, "Oh, are they first gen?" You can do that now, but you couldn't do it in 2011. So I started whenever I heard of a story or a narrative about someone who was notable in first gen or famous in first gen, I took notes on it, and that eventually turned into, we'll get into it, that turned into an Instagram account and an annotated bib and now a book and all those types of things. So that's the origin of some of that.
See how the genealogy is just
Thank
flowing
you.
through?
We we need to get back to genealogy.
Because the way you just broke down the timeline, you have
Yes, ma'am.
archives. You're like, oh,
Yes.
I still have the flyer from the 90s. That is the archive. That needs to be
Yes.
laminated and preserved,
It
right?
is. It is. If I could find it during the show, I will. Oh, look. Look at
Oh,
this.
here we go. It was
Look at it. It
missed.
ain't that far. It ain't that far.
Oh,
Look at Look at
wow.
this. Look at this. This is 92. This is 92, y'all. May 92.
I
Look at
was
that.
-3.
So someday there will, I mean, I actually do have my own archive. We could talk about that at Loyola Marymount, but I would love to have a traveling exhibit. I'm putting that out there in the universe. It will
Yes.
happen. It will
It will
happen.
happen.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
I'm excited because you said
Okay,
something. I
tell
was
me.
taking notes. So
Yes.
you said something about how you was watching movies and you were
Yeah.
inspired by all of these films, and it made me think about how does media truly influence real life, right?
Yeah.
Because then you start to get all this information, you're gathering all this data. And so from that, what do you think are some of the messages in media that talks about the
Mm.
success of a first gen, the identity of a first gen, the
hmm
struggles, like what is happening in the media around this identity?
Yeah, okay, that's two things. So
Mhm.
one, you were like, oh, what's an example of it? True life story impacted so many people, a different world, right?
Oh,
So I
100%.
would, okay, 100%. So like I said, I was at three different schools. The first school was University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, big, public, PWI, right? And it just was not a good fit for me at all. And I was watching a different world, and I was like, I want to go there.
Right. Gotcha.
And I think it would have been the earlier seasons, right? But Dwayne Wayne, they don't say it explicitly, but he was first gen.
You could tell, yeah.
Yeah, his dad drove the bus. His mom like took a business class or something like that. But I really identified with that. I mean, Whitley is a funny character, but I didn't identify with the Whitley. I identified with Dwayne, and then later on when Jada Pinkett's character came on, that was like more my style. So that is why I went to that, and because there was some protests taking place at Howard, those were the reasons why I went there. And you hear this time and time again how influential that show was, right? That it's reaching people that had no idea about HBCUs. As you know, HBCUs are really, they're clustered in the South and on the East, and a little bit in the Midwest, not a lot. Very few, one on the West Coast, right? And yet it's reaching the entire country. So I was someone who was very much affected. But here's what's sad, and I probably should write about it. One of the great things about A Different World is that it's showing all these complexities, so many different types of Black folks, right? But what I was noticing in some of the actual like narratives that I was seeing or the research, you said the word already, struggle, right? It's all about what we don't know, and our parents are mad at us, and our
Right.
parents are clueless, right? So it's really been my mission to challenge that. That's not the entire story, is us struggling all the time. Certainly struggle can be a part of it, often is a part of it, but that's not the entire story, right? So that's what I've been focused on, the quirky things, the fun things that are still authentic to us.
Thank you so much for that. Even for me, like watching A Different World, I'm watching the reruns and I'm impacted, right?
Right?
I remember being like 5 or 6 years old. My second older sister and I will watch A Different World before going to the bus stop. And we knew
Oh,
it was a different world, and then Little
uh,
House on the Prairie would come on after.
okay, that was another influence though. Little Laura, little
So when
Laura.
you started to see the girls roll down the hill, you knew it
Yeah,
was time to go. You knew it was time to
I
leave.
know exactly what you're talking about. The little pigtails running through the field.
So, so, and subconsciously, I never said it out loud, like, oh, I'm going to HBCU, but it was so ingrained in me from watching the show that once
Oh,
I was in high school, there was an opportunity to go on a college tour, on a HBCU college tour, and I jumped right on it. I was a first year student in high school, and I went. And then my sophomore year, we went to HBCUs on the East Coast. So again, my first 2 years in high school, I'm already exposed to over 30 HBCUs.
wow.
And again, I before I would have never put two and two together. I didn't think about the
Mm-hmm.
connection to a different world.
Mm-hmm.
As I
Yeah.
got older, I'm like, no, this was my
You
foundation of college.
exposed. That's what I'm saying.
That's my first introduction to college was A Different World.
Oh,
So
what an amazing like exposure, right? And I would imagine one of the things you learned on your 30 school tour is that these HBCUs are not the same.
so different. So different in so many different ways.
This is what I want to tell people. Like Spelman is not Howard, is not Alabama A&M, is not Claflin. So that's, I guess, another one of my goals too, is to help people understand the range. It's like the range of blackness. We're not just one thing. So
Yeah,
there
we
you
are
go.
not a monolith by
That's
no
right.
means.
That's right.
And then you also brought up something about a lot of the media and even literature sometimes is always from a deficit perspective. And
Yes.
so for you, you are definitely looking at it from like, okay, what are the assets? What are some of the good things
Yeah.
about being a first gen? So in your
Correct.
opinion, what are some good things about being a first gen?
Yeah, I mean, this is part of the reason why I wrote my own book, right? Smart Girl, a first gen origin story to talk about, and it's funny, it's sad too, but it's funny, right? And I talk about it's like at the beginning, it's a memoir, right? So it's not like critical essays, but I focus on all the things my family did know. We'll get to the parts about what they didn't know, but they were highly confident in me. They kept telling me I was a smart girl. I went to school thinking I was smart, right? Because my uncles and my mom told me that every day. So when you like the school is the thing that messed me up, right? Because my mom had and my family had poured so much into me. But then there was like a lot of love for sport. There's a lot of love for music and R&B and soul in particular. And I tell this really funny story in the book about going to a Prince concert. Now you know, I was 12 years old. And
You
this
should not
this
have been.
I should not have been at this Prince concert. And we could look at this and say, I got a single mom. She was a teenager when she had me. You could look at that from a deficit framework and say, what was this woman doing, right? But I chose to look at it differently and to present it differently, which is what it was my mom was passing down to me, like the confidence. She and I had an agreement. She made good on this agreement to take me to this concert. She told me where to go. I learned how to navigate. She was watching me the whole time. You could see that as a metaphor for like what's to come later on when I go to college. She couldn't go there with me. Like she stayed in the back and she watched me roam to the front of the stage. And then it was like, okay, come on back now. And I was rewarded for that. Like I got my little Prince button, my Prince poster. And I think that shows a lot about the relationship I had with my mom. And so we don't get enough of those stories. It's all about, again, someone would look at that and if they wrote my biography and talk about, oh, here she was, unsupervised, running around. Yeah, that's true, but there was other things going on as well too. So those are the things I wanted to highlight, not just in my book, but in all my work, is what are the things that our families and our communities are giving us, right?
I'm so happy you said that. Like, that is something that I've learned throughout my journey as a
Mm,
first gen.
yeah.
At first, for me, I was really frustrated because the financial part was like not
Oh,
there.
ooh,
Ooh, I was so frustrated. Like, like my parents don't have money. Like, send me this.
that struggle is real.
But it really forced me to be resourceful, right? So I was
Yep.
applying to all types of scholarships. I went into Spelman with over $20,000, $25,000 in scholarships, not even related to anything. It was just local scholarships. But
Wow.
that tenacity taught me something. Like
Exactly.
I knew like if I really wanted something, I could do it.
That's right.
And also my family's very supportive, similarly to yours,
Mm.
to where every time I moved somewhere, my family was coming to visit. It was like, oh,
Oh,
they're coming to campus. And so now I have younger like nieces and younger siblings. Now they're introduced to college even earlier than I was
that's
because
right.
so it's like those moments to me, when you have that emotional and community support, I think
Yeah,
that speaks so much, so many more volumes than, oh, yeah, you're the first to go to school and you don't have this. But it's like, no, I can call my parents right now
that's right.
and they're going to pour into me. Or the days that I
That's
feel a
right.
little beat up on, they
Yeah.
remind me of who I am
Yeah.
and
They don't know
even this
what you're
title.
doing. They don't
They
know
don't even
what
care.
you
They don't even know the title. They're like,
they're
yeah,
like, wait, Pac, what's she doing? What's she
but
doing? Don't worry
she a
about it. Don't
dean
worry
or
about it.
something.
Something she run the school. She
But
run the
she's
school.
so they're so proud, especially my mom. She's gonna brag on me every chance she gets.
That's right. That's what I'm talking about. Those are the types of things that we want to acknowledge. And we can get frustrated because they don't know. But look, they showing up anyway, even though they don't know.
No, for real. That's so real. And then that's the opportunity for you to teach.
That's right. That's right. And I know this is not true for everyone. We all have different relationships
Of course.
with our families. But for many of us, I just want to acknowledge for many of us, this is the case, right? And so I wanted to highlight that part of the experience.
And so let's talk about your book a little bit. So
Okay.
I'm going off script because I'm just flowing with the conversation.
I love it.
So with your book, what did you self-publish and what was that process like?
Yeah, I did. And I can explain what that means exactly. So when we look at other types of books, and I'll use my good friend Alejandra Campoverdi as an example. Her book is called First Gen, and she went with a traditional publisher, right? Which means that she put none of her money into her project. They did it all, the editing, the design, all that type of stuff, right? And that's amazing. So in fact, I had the opportunity to speak with her before my book came out, right? Before her book even came out. We knew each other and we were talking. So I was learning from her because I needed to decide what route did I want to go. For me though, the desire to have control of my project was much higher than anything else. You could look at it and say, oh, well, traditional publishing opens doors for you or gives you a certain amount of cliche. Well, to be honest, I didn't really need a certain amount of cachet. I didn't really need the cachet. I'm already an expert in the field, you know what I mean? So it was far more important for me that I have control over the content, that I had control over the design and the cover. I love my cover. My mother designed that cover.
Come
I
on,
know.
Mom.
Shout out mom, Mom Dukes. Listen, I would bet anything I wouldn't have that cover if I had gone with Penguin Random House. It would have looked a lot different, right? There would have been like a photo of me, a faded photo of me from my childhood. And I didn't want that. I could have gone that route. So I wanted control. And yes, I did have to invest in my own editing and design and all that. At the end of the day, though, it's about promotion. And if I was going to have to promote it anyway, then I was like, hey, I'm not giving all my money to this traditional publisher. I get to keep more of the royalties, right? So that's what I did. That's what is meant by self-publishing. So there was a level of investment, but then the payout is higher as well.
No, I love self-publishing. Like I am team self-published. You need to be the author, the true author of your voice, in my
That's right.
opinion.
That's right.
And then there's time and place. There may be some articles that you want published elsewhere.
Oh, for sure.
But when it,
I got two more books coming out. So
let's talk about it if you're able.
okay. So one of them is self-published, one of them is the traditional publishing. Let me tell you about the traditional one. A co-edited book along with my good sister, Dr. Yolanda Wiggins from San Jose State University. That book is about the Black first gen experience. And it's a collection of essays from folks all around the country talking about so much of that experience, whether it's most of it is in college, not so much pre-college. It's either in college or post-college, like career stuff. And then there's a fantastic essay about the TV show Power. So good. And one of the characters in there, we're talking about financial aid. Woo, we all shudder about that. So, there's a great essay about Black women in the McNair Scholars Program who are first gen. So it goes the spectrum. So excited about that. Again, that's a traditional, it's Emerald Publishing. And then another self-published book is one about media, about this is the dream project. Mind you, I resisted this thing. This has been a pattern I need to be more aware of. I was like, I don't want to do a book. I don't want to do a book on this. And my co-editor, Martha, bless her, was like, LT, she's so like humble and quiet. She's like, no, I really think we should do this project, you know? So that one will be out first. That's coming out in the next month or so, early 2026.
Nice.
Yeah, First Gen and Juice, exploring first gen identity in mass media and popular culture.
I love the title, First
They,
Gen Juice,
I
because
know,
we all know what that is.
yeah,
Jay-Z,
such a
Snoop Dogg.
great title. A great title.
Love
Yeah.
that.
That was the name of the Instagram account, and
Yeah.
thought it'd be a good name for the book.
And is this also the name of the Facebook group that you talked about in your intro?
So the Facebook group is just empowering first generation students, but the Instagram that I started back in the day is called First Gen and Juice. And it was honestly just a way for, like I said, for me to, like, if I saw something like curating, like, oh, J. Cole, First Gen, oh, Two Chainz, First Gen, just like
Mhm.
put it out there in case someone else is looking for that. And I tried to quit that Instagram so many times, and people, I know, stop. People keep sending me stuff. Oh, okay, put this on there. I was like, oh my God. Okay, thankfully I have someone that runs it now.
You was like, okay, I got some other projects I want to do, y'all.
Yes, I do. I do. I understand the importance. I'm just saying, I personally don't want to run it anymore.
So, do you think
Yeah.
by creating these social media spaces that you are helping to elevate the first gen voices?
Okay, I do. But let me tell you, it took a minute.
Okay.
Because I think it's been really interesting to see how, like, first gen studies is what we'll say, how it has evolved over the past decade or so. We're literally, and I'd be curious to know if you've seen this too, back in 2015, 2014 was when people started getting t-shirts and stuff. And at first they were like, is it okay? Is it okay to have a t-shirt? Are students gonna feel bad about having a t-shirt? Like that's what it
Right.
was like 10 years ago. And now we're starting to see more TV shows be like those narratives have always been there.
Right.
John Boy from the Waltons is first gen to college. Joey Potter on Dawson's Creek was first gen to college. But now we're starting to see people actually say first gen, right? And so, and like these aren't the side characters anymore. Like this is the primary one. So it's been interesting to see it, to see the evolution now. But at first people were resisting. They're like, you talking about what? You know? And now it's way more accepted. And I'm starting to see, like when I went on a tour this year of promoting my book and doing author readings, now I'm seeing that at these schools, they're having displays in their library. They're having that, you know, even if it's a shelf of books or a full-on display like they did at Northern Illinois University, I think that's part of that shift. Like people feeling proud and wanting to hear the narratives and having students write their own narratives and do podcasts, right? This is all part of storytelling. This is all part of it.
100%.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that you said that because before just now, I never thought about the 10 years ago, how that was.
You
But
remember.
as you're talking and just me reflecting on my own experiences, it was definitely like that. It was, oh, I'm too embarrassed or I don't want people to know. Because then,
Mm-hmm.
it was so much like, it was almost a stigma
Yeah. Yeah.
attached to it. But now I see it everywhere.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to
Everywhere.
see what happens because we're in a like a terrible political climate right now.
Yeah.
It may we'll probably go through a period where that's suppressed again. But I also think that in some ways the door has been open. It's going to be hard to close it too.
Yeah, I think also in my own professional experience, I've had to be very specific about what type of first gen I'm referring to.
Ooh, say more.
So, because first gen could be your first gen immigrant to the United
Uh-huh.
States,
Uh-huh.
right?
Speak on that.
So, I've had to make sure I'm saying like first generation college student, first
That's
generation
right.
graduate, because
Yeah.
sometimes when you just use first gen, especially
Yeah.
again with the political climate, people are
Yeah.
thinking otherwise.
That's right.
So, yeah, just being more mindful of the wording and
I,
how
I,
to
I,
use it.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on what you were saying. I just wanted to affirm you. And I think what can happen, especially where I see this in Black communities that are not immigrants, feeling
Mhm.
like, oh, if they hear first gen, they're thinking, oh, I'm not that because I was born here. But when you say first gen to college, then it means something more specific. And I
Yeah.
think I saw a lot of Black students feel like, oh no, that they must be referring to Hispanic students, right? And that's part of the education too.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at us. This is our wheelhouse. I'm so excited.
Yes, 100%.
And so talking about your new role as,
Mm,
a director of a nonprofit, or are you the founder?
yeah, both. I'm an executive director and founder.
All of the above. So you
Yes.
have the higher education experience. Now
Oh
you
my
have this
God.
nonprofit experience. How can institutions use media and storytelling to strengthen the support for first generation college students and
It
graduates?
is so needed. This is exactly where I was headed. It is so needed right now. Number one, media can and often does move faster than the scholarship.
100%.
Scholarship is slow, right? And so what has frustrated me is that a lot of the scholarship I'm just gonna say it, is focused on Ivy League or elite institutions, right? That's not where first there are some, right? Most of us didn't go there, right? And so the research often starts at these schools. But when you look at the power of, we could talk about a TV show, we could talk about a film, but we could also talk about a podcast, right? We could talk about a YouTube channel. So these things, in fact, are more accessible if people like understand the tools. Like students can create them themselves and turn
Right.
the camera on themselves and talk about things that they are interested in. So for me, that's really what I want to focus on is empowering student voices. And I've seen just how critical that can be. I started the Catalyst Awards back in like 6 years ago now, 2020, to highlight storytelling, right? And we have a best podcast category. We have a every now and then we have a best Instagram category because we want to like shout people out and say, hey, keep doing that work, right? Or what can we do to support you? And that part of the job, that work in the media is now under my nonprofit as well. It's not the only thing I do, it's a part of it. But it's nice to have a nonprofit home. And I'm just putting out there in the universe, the grants will come, the
Oh,
funding will, it's
they're
coming, it's
coming.
coming.
They're
Okay,
coming.
it's coming.
You already got it.
Okay, there we
It's
go.
already yours.
Oh, it's already mine. I'm just, we just waiting on getting that timeline aligned. So yeah.
And so when you do the awards, is it like
Yeah.
in person or is it just on social media?
It's on social media, but the vision is to have something in person. Our North Star was GLAD and what they do for the LGBT community and representation. That's what we want to do for first gen community college students and adult learners. And they have a in-person award, and we will get there. We will get there.
When you ready, call me
Okay, okay. I heard.
for help, support, all of that.
I
Like we're gonna
appreciate
make this
that.
happen. Like
There we
when
go.
I
There
heard
we
that, I said, "Oh yes, I want to be a part."
Yes, because it's gonna feel like an overnight success, but you know how it is. You grind and grind.
Definitely. And so now we have sort of come to the end of my formal questions, but what is something else that you haven't said today that you would like to share with the audience?
I just really want people to stay positive. I just want to continue to return to the climate that we're in right now. And I know how things can just feel really overwhelming. And, there are periods of time where I look at certain headlines and scream and like, and I don't do that anymore because what's happening right now is completely unsustainable. We're going to get through it. And so we have to continue to rely on our communities and whatever higher power folks tap into. So I just wanted to bring that positive light. I'm not saying it's easy or I'm not meant to be cliche or anything like that, but we come from strong backgrounds and communities. And like you just said, our ancestors already did this work for us. So we just got to ride this out. That's one thing I just wanted to make sure that I said. It is already bought and paid for. So we should just hang in there.
Definitely. I don't have nothing to add.
All right.
So, where can they find you?
It's so funny. I am so easily found. If you put in my government name on LinkedIn, I will pop up there, Latonya Rease Miles. I'm on Instagram as Dr. LT Rease Miles. Where else am I? I'm on Blue Sky. I'm not in the Twitter trash can, but I'm on Blue Sky is Smart Girl 07. I'm probably a couple other places, excuse me, but those are the main ones right now. And I have a website smartgirlbook.com, LatanyaReeseMiles.com. Either way, folks are welcome to connect with me. And if you do connect with me on LinkedIn, don't just follow me. Go ahead and like make that connect, take that next step, make the connection. You know what I mean? So it's a two-way thing. What's wrong?
That's a little shot at me, y'all.
No, it wasn't. Oh, I didn't
I'm
even
just
know.
joking. No,
Oh,
I'm
that's so
joking.
funny. I just see it happen quite a bit. So
And I will
yeah,
say, because you are, at least from my perspective,
yeah.
there's still like a hierarchy and sometimes how people like navigate relationships. And so when we see you, we're like, this is like one of
Oh,
the experts in the
oh.
profession. So like, how do we approach it? Because that was my
I,
experience. So
I
I was like, oh
appreciate you
no,
saying that.
this is the top, because again, your name
Oh,
does pop up everywhere.
yeah.
And so with that outreach, I was a little nervous, like, okay,
Oh, thanks
she's
for
gonna
saying that. But so I can say it like out my own mouth, right? I am invested in legacy and future generations, and I would be remiss if I didn't hold the door open for someone
Mhm.
else and keep exposing that hidden curriculum because again, it can look like, oh my gosh, she just appeared, started doing all this work, and I was grinding and not getting jobs and all that type of stuff. But those things don't make LinkedIn. The jobs you don't
Right.
get are not on LinkedIn.
They might be now though, because LinkedIn people are being more
More
authentic.
more authentic. Yeah. Yeah, but if you were to just pop into my page, you're like, oh, she's done X, Y, and Z or what have you. So, yeah, and I would say if someone reaches out to me, just drop a little note like, oh, I listened to you on the podcast or I read your book or what have you. Just let me know.
Perfect. And one thing before we go, when
Yeah.
the books come out, they will be on your LT website, or will they be on the Smart Book website?
There'll be a couple of different places. So you can get Smart Girl right now from smartgirlbook.com, and the information about the two new books will be on my personal page. But yeah, be sure to follow me on Instagram. I'm very active on Instagram, so I'll be promoting it there, and it'll be promoted on First Gin and Juice. How could I forget about that? First Gin and Juice is another Instagram account that I no longer run, but the books
It's
will
still
be
your
promoted.
baby.
Yeah, it's still my baby. But it'll be promoted there as well too.
Perfect. Thank you so, so much for being here with me today. I feel like I learned so much about you and I feel very connected. So we will continue to be
Yay!
in touch.
Yes,
Thank
we
you.
will.
Y'all, please reach out. Do not be afraid like I was. The door is
Oh,
open. The door is open.
the
Y'all heard
door
it
is
here first.
open.
The door is not closed. We are not locking doors.
Oh no, we can't afford to do that.
And so, you all, thank you so much for listening to AJD Consulting Podcast. If you haven't already, please follow me on Instagram at ajd.consulting and join the conversation. Stay tuned for future episodes. Thank you. Bye.